ready today. Whoops, maybe I should bring my microphone over where you did.
Hi, Richard. Hi, Mark. Richard, were you posting something later today? Or right now? Okay, we got sound. Hey, Richard. In a few hours. Okay. Because I seem to think you said it would be later, like 3 o'clock my time, as opposed to 3 o'clock your time, which was half an hour ago. So, what's everybody doing on this Saturday? It's about 10:30 in the morning here, and Joyce is busy doing some things, and I was working on a couple of the problems that came up in my live stream last night with the I have a bad spot of track over here. When I designed this table, I decided to use what American calls long turnouts. This is a standard turnout, and they have these longer, narrower ones, which I wanted to get more track in. And a couple of people told me they've had problems with those long, narrow turnouts. And what I did is, with the long, narrow ones, I go end to end with a piece in the middle. Packing up the house. Oh. Well, I haven't been there in a long time, Mark. I've been in this house this is 29 years. I've been in this house 29 years. It's a long story of why we're in this house, and there's been a few times where it's been a point of contention between Joyce and me. And every now and then I think of moving and then talk ourselves out of it. Joyce never wanted to move. This was her dream house. She grew up a couple of streets over from this neighborhood we're in. She grew up a couple of streets over from this neighborhood. And she used to ride her bike down this neighborhood all the time, and she just always wanted a house in this neighborhood. And when we finally decided to buy a house, I was looking all over the city because I wanted to live in the city, not in the suburbs. I wanted to live in the city. I'm an anti-suburb person. I feel like suburbs leech off the main city and then have an attitude like we're superior to the city, and I always hated that attitude, so I didn't want to live in the suburbs. So I looked at all kinds of houses because I had in my head what I wanted. And every house I looked at, and I took Joyce to look at them, Joyce always found something wrong with it. She didn't like it, she didn't like it, she didn't like it, she didn't like it. And we had a fight, we had an argument And I got mad at her. I said, "You have rejected every damn house I've looked at. You go find a house." Okay. I don't know why you don't feel welcome on here, but everybody's welcome. And so um, she looked in the paper for a bit, and she went out, and this house was listed for sale, and she called me up like 2 hours later and said, "Honey, I think I found the house I like." And it really was just, she wanted a house in this neighborhood, and she wasn't gonna like any house until it was in this neighborhood. And this was like the smallest house in this neighborhood. And, you know, as they say, sometimes happy wife, happy life. And it was the house Joyce wanted. Hi, Lee. I wasn't going to worry too much. But it's always felt small. Um, you know, this basement here is huge, but it belies the size of the house. Upstairs we had 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and then the attic had been converted into a bedroom, a master suite by the previous owner. And so we've stayed here. We raised our kids here. I wanted my kids to have one house. I moved a lot as a kid, up till the age of 8. Up to the age of 8 or 9, and then my dad bought a house that my mom still lives in, which was probably the crappiest house in the crappiest neighborhood he could have bought. Hi, Lee. And so my goal was to not move around. Now my daughter, she lived in an apartment, or my oldest daughter, when she was born, Joyce and I lived in an apartment. Then we rented a house, a small house, and then we had our second daughter. And so after we had our second daughter, we started thinking we wanted to own our own house and not rent anymore. And Joyce started thinking she wanted another child along the way, and so that's when we started looking for a house, and some other things came up that allowed us to finally look at buying a house. And so she found this one after rejecting all the ones I thought I liked. Like, what about this one? I like this one. Well, you know, the selling point of this one was, A, it was a neighborhood she liked, but what won me over was it had the big basement here, which is a finished basement, nice and set up. And the kids could use it as a big playroom. It had a 2-car garage, which I liked. And we had it had a master bedroom. It had this big bedroom, up, which is a converted attic. but it had its own bathroom and its own shower tub area. So that was nice because Joyce and I did not know what it was like to have a big bedroom. The room my brother and I shared growing up was a closet. There is that, there's that old phrase, happy wife, happy life, and it should be happy spouse, happy house. I mean, you got to make each other happy. And again, I wasn't opposed to this house, although once we moved in and we had our third child, I started to feel this house was too small. And my son was born in 1995, my third child. He was born in 1995. And about a year into trying to sit the three of us around because we didn't have a dining room. We had an eat-in kitchen, and the eat-in part was very tight. We had a small kitchen table. We shoved it to a corner, and when we ate dinner, we pulled it out so that Joyce, my two daughters, and I could eat. But once we had a son in the high chair, it was more of a hassle. So around about the time he was 6 or 7, we put our finances together and we built an addition onto the house. We added a dining room. So now we got a nice big dining room, which made it nice to sit around. But the kids still grew up in, by American standards, relatively small rooms. And we made do, and our kids, I think, were relatively happy here. But I had things I always wanted a house where you had a living room with a big tall ceiling so I could put in like a 10 or 12 foot Christmas tree. And I never had that. I always feel deprived of that. But we've had a good time here. And now that most of my kids have moved out, it's but every now and then even Joyce gets a little bit thinking about moving, but then we look at what we have and we go, oh my God, it would be so much to move. Because in our city, like a lot of cities, there's a section in Toledo and it's called the Old West End. And the Old West End has these giant houses. It was once the wealthy neighborhood of Toledo. All the wealthiest families lived there. So there are these huge Victorian houses. And some of them you can buy for a song, but they need a lot of work. But if you want to, if you want to live in a big house and at a very low cost, and it's become sort of the art center of Toledo. A lot of the art and the avant-garde of Toledo have moved over the last 30, 40 years. They move into the Old West End and they buy these houses and they fix them up and restore them. And now those houses are worth $400,000 to $1 million. But you could still, right next to them is one that was a crack house for 10, 20 years or whatever. You can buy it for a song, and if you want to go in and put the work into restoring it, you can have a glorious house. And I've got enough building skill, I could probably do that, but I'm getting older and it's harder to do some jobs. So it is what it is. But yeah, I was down here testing my trades because they kept having that short out on that one track, and it really is. It's a bad area, but there's only like 3 or 4 of my locomotives hit it and have problems with it, and then it causes that mini short through the system where everything slows down for a second and then goes. So all I did was turn the trains around, run them the other way, and yeah, I'm just waiting to see if all of a sudden it starts shorting again. I've got to replace that, but if I replace those turnouts, I'm going to replace them, or points as a lot of people call them. We call them turnouts. But if I replace them, I'm going to replace them with the standard form, the one that doesn't have problems. And that would mean redrawing all the lines because they have different angles. So I would have to tear this entire side of the layout out. Hey Jackie, nice to see you. Glad to hear you're not doing too bad. I just didn't see anybody else on live, so I thought, what the heck, while I was down here messing with my trains, sitting watching them, I'd go live and see if anybody wanted to chat. Hi Rachel, how are you? Okay, I just got a message from Simon. Sorry, getting emails here. There we go. Oops, and then back to that. There we go, that's even better. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I was just down here trying to sort out some of the problems I was having with it last night, and it's the same old problem I have with these two turnouts. And if I run trains the other direction, I don't have a problem. It's when certain locomotives run a certain direction. I just didn't. Well, no, I should have known that's the 4411. The 4411 doesn't like going up the pass on lane 3, as I call it. Basically, if I do the 11 lane view of my layout, if you're looking at the screen left to right, that's how I number them. Like lane 1, and yes, I call it lane 1, not track 1. Lane 1 is the one that's furthest to the left, and then it's just lane 2, 3, 4, 5. And then all the parking lanes, and then lane 6, you can see the little guy way in the back. That's lane 6. I don't number the other lanes because they're not running lanes. They're parking lanes. They're access lanes to one of my parking areas. But lane 3 can be a tricky lane because lane 3 is the last of the lanes that go around the layout. If I do the layout map, here, lane 3 is the third and inner one. But if you look, this backwards mapping. Yeah, if you look up in that corner, trying to do this mirror image doesn't work, but if you look up in that corner, lane 3 then connects to the inner loops. And that's also a power source to the inner loops. And the two turnouts that, you know, if you think of lane 3, maybe if I go that way, you think of lane 3 and coming down to lane 4. They go like that. The two turnouts that connect the outer loops to the inner loops. I've got a couple of bad turnouts. They're not this style of turnout. They're a different style of turnout. They're what American calls the narrow turnouts. They're longer and a tighter radius pulling off. Well, a wider turning off. But so they're tighter. That this several people have said they're actually not great turnouts. That just the way they're designed, they're not the best. And I've had trouble with certain locomotives hit them and create a mini short. Hey, Peter Shaw, how are you? Hey, Glocum Model Railway, how are you? Welcome, we'll get you knighted. And now declare you a knight at the Rhomboid table. So I was just, I did a lot, my usual Friday live stream I've been doing for a year and a half, since June of 2020. And had a couple of issues, and I just was down here running my trains. I changed a couple of things, and so far no problems. And I thought, what the heck? Joyce is busy. I'm sitting here, down here, doing nothing except watching my trains, and I thought I'd go live and see if anybody else would want to hang out. Nobody that I know was live. Obviously, there's somebody live somewhere. It's the way it is. Oh, you're still at work. Hey, Colin. Good morning, Dave. How are you down in East Tennessee, if I remember correctly? Where my mom lived. My mom was born in Wyoming, but she grew up many years in East Tennessee. Her father worked, well, at that time he worked for the Tennessee Valley Authority. He worked building the nuclear plants around the country. So he lived in Wyoming because he was building one out there when my mom was born. Or actually, he was doing something else when she was born out there. But once we started building the nuclear power plants, he worked for the government. He helped design the doors, however that was. But my mom was born in Wyoming, but then spent like 15 years down in East Tennessee. And then when they started building Davis-Besse up here by Toledo, he moved up here. Yeah, it is cold up here. I cranked the heat up in the house. Whoops. Oh my goodness. The cameras are foot in. I'm sorry, I saw that THE.AMER. I thought it was one of those spammers. So hopefully that wasn't too rude of me. I don't know. I don't even know where she lived other than it was somewhere. Was it Nashville? She lived somewhere near Nashville. Memphis is west, Nashville is east. Hey Andrew T, how are you? But if anybody was on the live stream, Nashville is middle of Tennessee. Okay. I should have known that. Frankfurt is further east, maybe. No, Frankfurt is further east. Okay. Oh, why is my Tennessee geography not good today? Geography is one of my specialties. But be that as it may, yeah, she was somewhere in the east. I have an uncle I haven't seen in 50 years who lives somewhere still down there in the eastern hills of Tennessee. My uncle Jim. Jim Ritz, or Reitz as the name originally was. I don't even remember seeing him. I think I saw him sometime as a kid, but he had a break with the family and just did not talk to the would not, and spent the rest of his life not talking to the rest of his family. Yeah, after last night's live stream, I talked myself into I am going to take out some track on this side, but probably wait till the summer to do it. And I do want to replace those turnouts of driving. Well, hi, George. How are you? An old coffin dodger. I'd like to dodge the coffin as long as I can. Well, sadly, I wound up having to do the same thing. I followed in my Uncle Jim's footsteps. Same family, too. But, so yeah, last night, after, things started well on the live stream with the trains. But about an hour in, all of a sudden I kept getting that short where every time a train would pass by itself, it wasn't every pass. It was, if it was by itself, hit that point, quick short out, then everything goes again. Today, everybody's running smooth, at speed, looking good, because all I did was change the direction. Instead of going up the pass, it's going down. So it's something weird and tricky about the angle when it's going up and it catches those turnouts. Well, hi, Ewan. Well, thank you for saying that. I'm not going to be on very long because a couple of people I know go on at noon. Fell off the chair. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm running the same trains I ran last night. All I did was change the direction of two of the trains. I just have one running down instead of up, and the other one running up instead of down. No problems, everything nice and smooth. As long as trains run down that third lane and not up it on the back, it's all good. Funny thing is, when Model Train guys started streaming a couple of years ago, I mean, obviously people were streaming long before that, there was sort of an etiquette, okay, if so-and-so's on, I won't go on, but the thing is, because of the showstopper, everybody, including myself, started streaming, and I always try not to stream if somebody I'm subscribed to I know will be streaming. If they announce it, if they do like I just did, where I just went on, I wasn't going to worry about it either. But now there's just, everybody is streaming, and that's good on them. This is definitely not a complaint. Everybody's streaming. Because you feel kind of stuck at home and you want to commune. You can't go to club maybe, and I don't belong to any clubs. It's a well-known story that I quit the one club I belonged to because I hoped I was joining a model train club, but the model train club rarely talked model trains, and instead spent everything doing all sorts of other stuff that I didn't want to be a part of. Yeah, it was a good win. It was a good win over Arsenal, especially considering Mo and Sadio weren't there. It was nice that Jota stepped up and scored a couple of goals. I'm a little sour on Liverpool right now. I've grown a little tired of how Jurgen's teams, and this goes back to when he was in Germany. I love Jurgen. I love Jurgen Klopp as a coach, but he has a weakness, and he had it in Germany when he coached Mainz. Is that there are times where his team just comes out uninspired to play, and he can't wake them up. He cannot. There's no halftime adjustments, or if he makes the adjustments, he makes them too late. And Liverpool has sleptwalked the last couple years, ever since they won the cup. Last year and this year, they go against these middle and lower tier teams in the league, and they sleepwalk. You know, like they think, we can score anytime we want. And he can't wake them up. And there are certain guys that I think should be off the Liverpool squad. I mean, every Liverpool guy. I personally think Oxlade-Chamberlain is a waste every time he's on the field. He needs to go. He makes horrible passes, and when he's dribbling the ball up the pitch, he seems to believe that he is Pele and can dribble between three guys, and he always loses the ball. He's a turnover machine. He's horrible. And I used to like him, but I've grown tired of his play. He needs to go. Klopp needs to sit Trent Alexander-Arnold down in a meeting and explain to him that while he does some good things on offense, his defense sucks, and he has defensive responsibilities. And he puts the defenders, he puts Van Dijk and whoever's playing alongside Van Dijk in bad spots because he makes very bad decisions getting too forward offensively, or standing around and watching the game and not watching his defensive assignments. So while he's got a lot of talent, he makes way too many mental mistakes that hurts the team on defense. I love Jamie Milner, and Jamie Milner gave his heart and soul. But the fact is, Milner doesn't have it anymore. I would like to see Milner retire and just say, I'm done. Go out with class. But right now, when he still looks like he's hustling hard, but he just doesn't have it anymore. And to be honest, Andy Robertson, as much as I love Andy Robertson, has not played well the last year and a half. And Klopp keeps signing forwards when we need help on the back line, and he needs to get something at midfield, because midfield is just not good. He needs some proper midfielders, because the Liverpool midfield is not good. But there. Very true. Very true, George. There's people on all the time, and there are some people like a good guy named Jack has a channel where he's got his trades on 23 hours a day, which is cool. It's just when I go in, I want to chat. That's why when I'm on my live feeds, I chat, I talk. According to my buddy Jean Ricard, I talk too much, but that's my goal. Well, hi, Simon. I got your email, Simon. I just was on here. Simon, all I can say is that when you have a YouTube channel, you have grown If you look where you are, just say 6 months ago, to where you are now, look how much you've grown. You have over 800 subscribers. You're closing in on 900. There is a guy whose channel I love. His name is Ray Bobel. He has been on YouTube for close to 8 years, 9 years, and he's at about 500 subscribers now. And you scratch your head and you wonder, and I do this all the time, why do I have 1,070 subscribers when I do nothing? I run trains in a circle, I babble, and I put up stupid cartoon and joke songs. Why do I have over 1,000 now in 3 years on YouTube, and in 9 years, a guy who does great train videos, is building a layout, walks you through it, talks you through it, shows you all these cool things, and he gets 500. And just to let you in on a secret, I'm at 1,070, and for the last week, I have watched my membership subscriptions. 1076, 1075, 1076, 1075, 1076, 1075, 1074, 1075, 1076, 1075, 1074, 1073, 1074. It is bouncing back and forth after I just had a huge growth spurt. A lot of it thanks to Alan at Dragon Junction, who is a guy that should have 100,000 subscribers. If there was one person of all the YouTube channels I subscribe to that I would say should have 100,000 subscribers, well, there's a lot of them. But Alan is one. He is just one of the nicest channels to watch, coolest guys. And the minute I say that, I know I'm going to hurt anybody else that I don't mention, because I'm egalitarian. I want everybody to be successful. But, whoops, bumped the wires there and they spazzed. But, the thing is, Simon, yeah, Benitez got dumped at Everton, but Everton's a mess. From the ownership on down, Everton's a mess. Hey, Sparky, how are you? And there's another guy, Sparky now. Sparky, I've lost count. Are you at 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 now? Oh, these two cameras are not liking each other all of a sudden. And it's really that one. That one's fine. This is the one that I added a year ago that creates some of the interference with other cameras. I guess. $5,000 stuff. Well, hi there, Newland. The thing is, to everybody, let me just pause this for a second and go here. Since Simon, you're talking about, Andrew, you're talking about. First of all, don't, because I would miss you. If nothing else, I would miss your channels. Don't pack it in. There are dozens and dozens of channels out there that will tell you how to grow your channel and what to do to grow your channel. But they never talk about dumb luck. Yes, there's a lot of, if you do this, if you do this, and if you do this, and if you do this, your channel will grow. And that's not necessarily true. Some people work very hard at the things you should do to grow your channel, and it doesn't work. Now, you can't
necessarily discuss it with these people because they firmly believe. You got to ask yourself, every time you think of packing in YouTube, you got to ask yourself, why did I go on YouTube? Did I go on YouTube to monetize? Did I go on YouTube to get successful thinking, I'm going to put a channel out there that everybody's going to love and I can quit my day job and make money on YouTube? Okay? Sam at Sam's Trains, okay? This is what he does for a living. And whether you like him or hate him, that's not here for discussion, okay? I don't want to read people, I hate Sam. But that's what he does for a living now. He also had the advantage, he lives at home with family and doesn't have bills, a lot of bills to pay. But he's got, look at how many hundreds of trains he owns. All right, I went on YouTube for one thing, and this is it right now. I found somebody to talk to besides talking Joyce's ear off all the time. Where Joyce is like, shut up about trains and blah, blah, blah for a while. All right, yes, I now have 1,000 subscribers. And that's awesome. But I don't ever look in the mirror and look at myself. Some of my students found out about my channel. And, oh, you've got 1,000. Wow, that's a lot. Everybody's impressed with 1,000. And because certain things can happen at 1,000, yeah, it's a big deal. But I don't look in the mirror and think I have 1,000 subscribers. I have 50 subscribers at best. You know why? Because I get between 25 and 50 likes and comments on my videos. So I can have 1,000 subscribers on my channel, but that means nothing. When I put up a video, I don't even care about views. I look at thumbs up versus thumbs down and comments, because that's how many people cared enough about what I did to interact with it. And in that regards, I'm never going to be 1,000 subscriber. I'm never going to get 1,000 likes on a video or anything like that. I think the most likes I ever got on a video was 60 or 70. Don't get caught in those numbers. You came to YouTube to share what you did and hoping, or at least that's what I did. I came to meet people. And it's, again, and I had no ego. I did not even come out, like Sparky says, I didn't even come in to share my layout. I'm not ashamed of my layout, but when I look at people that are professional, top quality builders, you know, they are building, they know what they're doing, they've been into model trains for years. I'm a hack. Okay, I bought a model train 1 year, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and all of a sudden found myself addicted to the hobby. And I get people coming in all the time. When are you going to put in the Katmiri? When are you going to put in this? When are you going to do that? When are you going to work on that side? And I'm like, whenever. And if they don't like my channel, they go. But if it weren't for YouTube, Andrew T. and Simon, I wouldn't have found you. You wouldn't have found me. Because that's one thing. Everybody I subscribe to, I watch what they put up. Sometimes I am watching 2 at a time, sometimes even 3, phone, TV, computer. But I'm able to kind of follow each one. But I always leave a like and I always leave a comment. I interact to let them know somebody watched their video and cared enough to put a comment down. It's getting harder. And I only have, 300 and some channels I sub to. And Sparky, somebody told me you're sub to a couple of thousand or more. So who came in? Boxcar Jerry is here. Hiya, Jerry. Hey, hi, how are you? And you never know. So, Simon, when you're sitting there feeling bad at 860, give or take, somebody else is at 266 feeling bad, and they're looking at you going, you just stay with it. You're under no obligation. That's why I try to tell a friend of mine who's got deep manic depression, and I also have manic depression and ADD. And you know, Simon and Andrew T, let me give you an example. When I put my trains up and show them off, and hey, this is, you know, my trains, and people love them, I feel good. You know, that's great. People like my trains. I like my trains. But this YouTube channel has become my otherworld existence. And so I started doing stuff I hadn't done for a long time. My creative writing, although I focused it in comedy now, because I'm a failed stand-up comedian. And so I put up my Matt Clark cartoons. And I'm sitting there praying I get 30 likes on the cartoon and 50 comments. And it never happens. And if, I hate to say it, it bothers me. And when I'm like, didn't you think that was funny? Didn't anybody think that was funny? That joke was funny. So I'm in a constant state of, nobody liked my comedy. Nobody liked my song. You know, even when Joyce sings, I'm like, oh, that was awesome. Those lyrics were great, and Joyce sang it beautifully. And okay, it got 200 views and 25 likes, if I'm lucky. It's like, oh, nobody liked it again. No, you got to do a 1-minute cat video, but Sparky, you have to have the cat do something funny on your video, like jump or attack a train or fall off the... It just can't be the cat on the video. The cat has to do something that gets people to go, oh, look at the cat, that was funny. And see, I've been on YouTube for 12 years myself, 12, 13 years. I think I joined in 2009, 2010. Because again, I never look at that stuff. But I didn't start doing my channel until 3 years ago. The funny thing is, Andrew, I have this bizarre thing. There's a few channels that have exploded where I was like one of the first 25, first 50 people to subscribe to the channel. You guys all know Double O'Neill, Tris? I was like his 23rd or 24th subscriber. And when he started, I had about 550 subscribers. Tris had 20, I was his 23rd or 24th subscriber. And I had 550. He's at 7,000, and I just passed 1,000 last month. And the same thing with Ollie at Wardle Road. I was one of the first 50-ish subscribers to his channel. And now he's at 6,000 or 7,000. Shot right past me. And then Joyce got everybody to get George here over 300. I don't know if we truly take credit for that, but it did happen. So that's the thing, I never lose. That's why I don't do my shows as much. Because once I started doing the live streams, I realized that's what I really wanted YouTube for, was just to sit here and talk to people. I can't be at your houses, so you can be in my house and watch my trains and listen to me babble, or I will see what you guys are saying. So just when you're ready to chuck it in, just remember that if you have 200 subscribers, there's 200 people that subscribe to you. That's 200 people you didn't know beforehand. And, you know, now you've got, like Heath. Heath is multimedia. Heath is doing YouTube and Discord and something else all at the same time, and I can't do that. If I'm going to do a live stream, I don't want to be having separate conversations with somebody else back here. I want to be talking to the people that are here on this stream. Well, you know, I'm glad that some people like my channel. I annoy a few. I mean, just scroll back up. Somebody typed in, I think they're still here, but they typed in they're not welcome here. And I'm like, when have I ever told anybody they're not welcome here? I never tell anybody they're not welcome here unless they say something political. I work very hard to keep politics off of this because my life is politics. My real world deals with a lot of politics. When I come online, some days I've had a bad day at work. And when I come online, I just want to get lost in the fun. Hey, O Gage, how are you? And that's why, like, one of my favorite channels to watch, and by the way, when I say one of my favorite channels, I have 300 and some favorite channels. But Tim JD, when he puts his videos up, he's running them in where he can run them on a carpet in his room. He's got 3 main looping tracks and a couple of side tracks, but it is fun to watch his trains run around. He's got cool looking trains. He adds a little bit of stuff to it. It's fun. George here at White Walls, he runs his all these different boxcars he's had. He always has another set of boxcars that I've never seen before. That's a lot of fun to watch. All right, Dave, thank you for stopping in. Goodbye. Always appreciate you coming in. You got a great channel yourself, Dave. No, I have looked at going to Divinic, Richard, but no. My problem is I stick with my Nero because I've been using Nero for 10 years to edit videos, and it's kind of my old hat. I even feel like Nero has not aged well. I see some of you guys do really cool graphics and blah, blah, blah with your editing programs, and Nero doesn't have that like other programs do. But Nero is still a 1-year fee of $50 as opposed to the rip-off that the various Sony programs are, where it's $15, $20 a month. But if you really want to do what you want to do, now it's $30, $40 a month. Where you used to be able to buy one program a year and you could just use that program forever. Now they force you to rent month by month or yearly, but it's too expensive. If I'm going to buy trains, I can't spend $200 a year or $500 a year on a freaking editing software. Because I've been making movies since I was a kid. I used to do 8mm movies. I still have a movie that I converted to videotape that we made in high school where we did a Star Trek parody. And then my students, over the years, we've done plays and movies, and we always film them and edit them. And so I've been film editing, plus all the trip vacations. And I just always found Nero easy to use, but I'm starting to feel like it holds me back in some things I want to do. But it's like an old glove. It just fits too well. Hello, Edward. How are you? Mr. Katie? But you know, I mean, it's such an amazing thing to Friday afternoons. I come home from work, and normally I would crash Friday afternoons. For 30 some years that I've worked, well, I've been working for 50 some years. My first job was 12. And I mean working, not delivering papers, which was a job too, not to disparage paper delivery people. But Fridays after work, it's been a long week, and if it's been a tough week, a hard week, a bad week, and we've had a lot of crazy weeks just this year at work so far. Normally I'd come home on a Friday, and I would just go sit in my chair in the living room and just glare at the walls, maybe take a nap. But now I have to rush in, change clothes, and go to the live feed. I don't have to, but this is the time I've elected to do it. But it does wonders. Because instead of sitting around thinking about the crappy week or the hard week or whatever, I come home, sit in front of the camera, and try to run some trains, have some chat, and just kick back. And by the time Joyce comes down, I've lightened up, and of course, not to sound all mushy, but to sound mushy. When Joyce comes down, because she's coming home from work, I don't apologize for the fact that after all the years Joyce and I have been together, she's the highlight of my day. When she comes home from work, that's when I'm alive again. When I see Joyce, that's when I'm alive. So she comes down, joins the live stream, we laugh, we play, we act this way, off camera, we're not just playing around. And the fact that she's now become a part of all of this, she's helped me build. She does everything from sometimes just stand there and wait for me to call for a tool to hold this, stick these two wires together, solder this wire while I do this. You know, she helps everywhere. So it's great that it does, because it's a much better way my Friday afternoons would go than if I weren't live streaming. And my thing is, I don't know a blame thing about model trains. I just buy them and hope they keep working. One of these days I'll have to buy a junker, although maybe I did, and learn how to fix them. But on the flip side, whenever I need a train fixed, I got a guy in California that I talk to, and Andrew Chevalier at AC Euro Trains, great guy. He hooks me up, and he does a great job, and he doesn't charge me a fortune like some places would. Like right now, I watch like a lot of UK channels because I'm trying to learn the UK trains. And if I'm watching the American channels, it's more the company. I'm not, does this sound bad? I'm sure it's going to sound bad. I'm not necessarily watching to learn, because basically I run a completely different system. That's where my German channels come in. I watch them if I want to learn something about Märklin. But I watch a channel just to hang. And if they have a cool guy who talks about I don't mind learning. I'm not opposed to learning. That's not a priority of mine. I just like to see what somebody's doing, more what are they doing rather than how are they getting there. Okay, what trades are running? Well, let's go to the one camera that will show them all off. So I have my old Regio bonds with a 181 just went around. Well, actually both Regio bonds are coming around. So I got two Doshtos, as we call them. The new cars that are made by Hobby Trade are being pulled by a Class 146 locomotive. There's my metronome and my IC4. The Regio Bond coming down now, that is being pulled by a Class 181.2 locomotive. And then there's my IC2. And then in the background, probably 10 seconds away, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm running my Lint Class 648 Regio. And guys, when you hear me say Regio, let me just explain. If you don't know, Regio is just German for commuter trains, the slower moving local traffic trains. Regio is just commuter. Yeah, and Sparky, you bring up a great point. You do make friends, and you have had the blessing that you've been able to go travel and meet these people and get to know them, and of course, occasionally get caught up in the dramas. But since I started my YouTube channel, I haven't been able to travel. The UK next year is going to be awesome, I hope, because, well, next year, this year, June. In June, Joyce and I are going to the United Kingdom. So we are planning on meeting a lot of people, as many as we can meet. You know, whoever wants to see us, we will try to squeeze them in, or we're trying to set up a couple, we're going to let everybody know our itinerary, so if you're close by, here's a day where we can all meet if you want to meet, if you can make it. The last time I was in Germany in 2019, I hadn't started my live feeds. I had my channel, but the people I follow in Germany are kind of like professionals. They're not people you become friends with, if that makes sense. You know, they have big channels, lots of followers, they belong to clubs, and I wasn't anywhere near their club. So I didn't think of it. I've got some people I would meet in Germany this year. Now, on the flip side, I've got people I know at Miniature Wonderland that I'm friends with. I know some of the people who work at Miniature Wonderland, and I talk to them now and then because I met them over the years. And the people who run Miniature Wonderland, from the janitorial staff to the owners, every single one of them is one of the nicest people you would ever meet. They are not fake. We met one of the two brothers. We met Garrett Brown in 2017, and he was coming out of a meeting, had another meeting, and he stopped when Joyce and I saw him, and I acted like a schoolgirl seeing the Beatles. Oh my God, Joyce, look, it's Garrett Brown! And he's like, oh. And then he turned around and spent 15 minutes talking to Joyce and me. And every now and then when I comment on one of his videos, he will comment back and say he remembers me. Hey, David Cook, how are you? Nice to have you here. See, David Cook here has been a supporter of my channel forever. He's one of the pillars. He's one of the foundations my live streams are based on. When there's David and Colin and Tim JD, and I only say some of these names because they have been here since the beginning. So nobody else take offense at that. But they have been here since the beginning, and a live stream never quite feels the same if one of them has to work or is missing, and lately some of them have been working, but hey, I do it anyhow. Let's see, that's 2 o'clock this time. I should be here and should be on, because I'll be getting off in a few minutes, because Vinny at BNSF 6951. Vinny has a premiere video starting at noon, and since he's somebody I subscribe to, I always try not to cross streams, because as we know from Ghostbusters, crossing streams is bad. That's also true in the men's room. Crossing streams is bad. But be that as it may, so I'll pop off because I don't want to seem disrespectful. I just was down here and Joyce is running some errands, and I thought, what the heck, I'd go on and see if anybody came in, and yeah, we got a few. But Joyce and I are planning on going back to Germany in 2023, which would be the longest stint in periods between Germany. Because from 2003 to 2017, we went to Germany every year, and then we took a year off in 2018 because Joyce had knee replacement surgery. And then we went back in 2019. Yeah, Joyce has a bionic knee. I don't know if you guys know that, but Joyce has a bionic knee. She has an all-metal knee. That's why I got to keep her to one side of me, because if she kicks me with the other leg, she could kill me. Hey, Gus, how are you? And then we were supposed to go back in 2020, and that got canceled. We were going to try to go again last year. Got canceled because we couldn't leave the country. And then we had been planning a trip to the UK. If things had been normal, if the showstopper never happened, if things had been normal, we would have gone to Germany in 2020 and the UK in 2021, and then back to Germany this year. But as it is, we're going to the UK this year now. We just can't keep pushing the UK trip off. So we're finally gonna bite the bullet and go to the UK. And the funny thing about going to the United Kingdom is, geographically, I know the United Kingdom as well as I know anywhere, which is pretty good. I'm very good with geography. But I feel at home in Germany. From the first minute I was in Germany, I felt at home in Germany. The pace of life, I learned the train system real easy, and I could give courses on how to travel in Germany to anybody. I could easily be a travel agent to Germany for anybody, free of charge. I find moving around Germany and how to do it very, very, very easy. And that was after my first visit. The UK scares me. Germany, Austria, Czech Republic don't scare me in terms of getting around, figuring things out. The UK scares me because the train system is so different than anywhere else. The way things are divided up is a little different. The UK scares me. Hey, Roy, and hello, St. Lazy. How are you, sir? And Roy, how are you, sir? I need to find a better placement for that camera. The one on the, at the station. I've tried to have it bridge over the station. There you are. Come on. Oh no! Oops. That's why they're not on. The batteries burned out. I accidentally left them on somehow. I'll have to get more batteries. Well, fortunately, I have more batteries here. Yeah, that's what we're being told, Sparky. Now, Sparky, Bearlane Stephen Price, who is a model train guy, is also a travel agent, and he's working on it. And but yes, we want to get the train pass, and we want to buy early. Those poor people at the station, they never get picked up. Hey, this was a good time to turn it on. The station had a lot of traffic here. But that is my Delmenhorst. That is 100% accurate. I've had people from Delmenhorst come to my channel and look at that and go, is that our train station in Delmenhorst? And I'll say, yes, it is. And they're like, it's perfect. Well, that's just it, Hi. When Joyce and I are in Germany, we never drive. We have never rented a car, well, anywhere, ever. When we go to Canada, we drive. But when we go to Germany, we fly. And from that point on, it's train, bus, subway, tram, streetcar, train, bus, station. You know, and walk. We walk a lot. So I don't want to rent a car. Driving on the other side of the road is intimidating to me. But yeah, we need to get the rail pass, and we need to buy it early. But anyhow, St. Blazy. Joyce, what'd you do with it? Wait, is this it? Nope, that's the script for the most recent. Darn. What I'm looking for is, we have our itinerary. I can pull it up on the computer, I believe. Let me see. Is it on here somewhere? Ah, figures, I don't have it on here. Tragic. I've got all the dates. Hey, Melvin, how are you? Yeah, okay, so the thing is, I have the itinerary of where we're going to be each day. Joyce was taking notes. Did she take it? Hang on. Ha! Found it. See, everything is running smoothly today. Those of you who were here last night were having little problems. All I did was change 2 trains. No problems, because it's only certain locomotives that have issues on that same problem spot. But I am going to rip that problem spot up. But anyhow, St. Blazy, I found this for you. By the way, St. Blazy, could I know your first name, if you don't mind telling me? I'm sure everybody knows it, and I've probably heard it before. I just keep forgetting it, and I like to know names, if that doesn't sound too... You know, I like to know my Ewans and my Stewarts and Lewises and Tylers and so on. But let's see, here we go. So there is our itinerary. Now, obviously, I'm not going to hold it up there for you to read everything, but let's go back. So let me read some of this. I know you didn't get it nearly long enough to look at that, but let's put the trains back up. Anyhow, June, we're leaving my last work day ever. Well, as a professional full-time teacher, as I've been for 36 years, I'm retiring. If nobody hasn't heard that yet, everybody knows this. There are people in China without TV that know I'm retiring. My last day of work is June 1st, although I'm not going in. May 31st, I'm supposed to work. We don't even have students. It's just a teacher work. They were supposed to work. I'm walking in at 7:30 when the secretary shows up. I'm handing my keys. I'm saying goodbye, and I'm out. And I'm done. What are they going to do? Fire me because I left work early? Because I'm supposed to be there till 3 o'clock on May 31st. But June 1st, we also were supposed to go in for 2 hours. I'm not even showing up. I'm retired. My retirement begins June 1st. So May 31st, I'm going in for 5 minutes, and June 1st, I'm out. I'm not even going in. But on June 1st, Joyce and I are getting on a plane in Windsor, Canada, flying to Toronto, and then from Toronto, we're flying to London, where we arrive early in the morning on June 2nd. But we're only in London June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Full days. June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, full days. That's all the time we're in London to begin with. And I don't want to offend my London people. There's not a lot in London Joyce and I are really interested in seeing. Of course, I would love to see the Royal Museum, the Art Museum, but Joyce isn't a big museum person. We may squeeze that in, don't know. But London's just the easiest place to fly into and the cheapest for us. What are we doing in London? We want to do a late night Jack the Ripper tour. Joyce and I are both into the Jack the Ripper story. We want to go to the Tower of London. And then Beatle stuff. Go into Abbey Road Studios, the Abbey Road Crosswalk, all that. And then all we're going to do is we're going to take a bus scene, one of those sightseeing tours. We're just going to take a bus tour, one of those hop-on, hop-offs. Because we don't feel the need to go to Buckingham Palace. We don't feel the need to go annoy one of the guards. We don't feel the need to go see the throne where the Queen sits. Remember, we're Americans. We rebelled against all that. We might take, on one of those days, we might head up to Oxford for a bit and come back. And then anybody of the train community from London, if they want to meet us at a pub or something like that, just tell us where, and that's where we'll meet. So that's June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Not a lot of time, but we want to get out of there. And Bear Lane has already got us booked in a hotel and got us a good price. Then, June 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we are in Bristol. The Bristol and Cardiff area. And we're going to be doing a bunch of sightseeing there. So June 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we're in Cardiff, or Bristol and Cardiff. And then we are taking a train to Northern Wales. So we start at London. Can I do this the correct way? We start at London, we're going over to Cardiff, Bristol area, Bristol, Cardiff area, and then we're going up to Northern Wales, where we're going to be staying in, I forget if he told us he got us Carnarvon or Conway, but he's got us a place in that region that he's looking at. But we want to see Conway Castle and Carnarvon Castle, and there's a couple other castles up there to see. And we're also going to sneak into Allen's Shed at Dragon Junction. Hey Chris, how are you? Nice to have you here. Alright, so we are going up. I would love to do the coastal railway to get up to Conway, but we'll have to see what we can do. But, so, London to Bristol. Bristol up to the Conway, Carnarvon area, but we're going to go over, it's probably half an hour or something like that, over to where Dragon Junction is, and if Alan will have us, we'll see this shed live. If he refuses to see us, we're going to either stand outside of his house until he lets us in, or we're going to hop the fence when he's not looking. Okay, from Northern Wales, we're going over to Liverpool. We're going over to Liverpool, and we're going to Beatle it up. We are staying at the Beatle Hotel, or whatever it's called, the Hard Day's Night Hotel. And again, Stephen Price seems to have done a great job. He got us a real good deal. And we're gonna go on all the Beatle tours and go to the Beatle places. And yes, I'm fully aware, like, the Cavern Club isn't the original Cavern Club and blah, 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 all that. But I'm still gonna go. I am a huge Beatle maniac, and this is my only chance to be there. If it's Beatles, I'm gonna see it, drink it, eat it, play with it. And I mean anything. Make that X-rated if you want. If somebody says, here's Yoko Ono on her boobs, you want to play with them? I'd be like, I'm a Beatle fan, hell yes. No, totally inappropriate, kids. So while we're in Liverpool, of course we're gonna try to catch up with Lee and Jackie and try to catch a dinner or something like that. And but while we're in Liverpool, we're gonna go visit some areas around Liverpool because I want to get into Anfield. I'm going to have to hop the fence, but I'm going to get into Anfield, and I want to walk on the pitch where my Liverpool Reds play. And and if it means hopping the fence and getting arrested, I'm all for it. Joyce isn't sold on it, but I don't care. While we're in Liverpool, we're also going to go down to Manchester, and we're going to visit Jim at Hover Motion. I'm going to go visit his layout, because that is like a holy mecca to me. But again, one of those days we want to meet all the people up in that part. Then we're going up to Stirling in Scotland and over to Edinburgh. And if Chris and Shirley will open the door, we're going to visit him. If not, I am planning on going to his neighbors upstairs and inviting myself in and then tap dancing on the floor just to give Chris some memories of his old neighbors. But then I'm going to visit the battlefield sites up there. If I can, Bannockburn, but otherwise Stirling Bridge and so forth, Stirling Castle, some of that stuff. I would love to go up to Inverness. I just don't see it happening. But we are in Edinburgh, June 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. So I should have time to get up to a couple of those. And if we can go up to the famous railway bridge that's like 3, 4, 5 hours north, we'll do it. If not, and then from Edinburgh, we're coming down to York. And we will be in York June 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and I'm visiting a bunch of battlefields because I'm a huge English and Scottish wars, English Civil Wars, Scottish medieval wars. So I'm into that. So I want to go see the Towton battlefield, the Baden Hill battlefield, going back to the Danish Wars, the Stamford Bridge battlefield. I want to go see all those battlefields, and York is kind of in the middle of all these. And then York itself is a beautiful town, and the York National Railway, whatever that, Model Railway Museum, National Railway Museum, NRM. And we are planning on having a big meet and greet. For a lot of people have said, yeah, let's do a meet and greet at the Railway Museum in York. So we're just going to pick a day, and we'll all try to be there. And we will give everybody plenty of advance notice, like months ahead of time, and said, this is the day we're going to go to the Railway Museum, and maybe we can have a huge meet and greet there. So that's York, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Then we're back to London for the 25th, 26th. Our wedding anniversary is the 27th, and we fly out the 27th or 28th. So that is our round trip to the UK. We are doing a circle. I am missing so much, but we had about 4 weeks, and I wanted to go way up to Donegal. I want to go see Mark. He says, tell us when he's in Bristol, and he'll come down to Bristol, which is cool if he's willing to do that. But I wanted to go up and see his museum. I've been following Mark at Donegal Dad for 3 years now. It would be an honor to go up to his place instead of him having to come down to us. But there was just no way we could fit going all the way up that way into the schedule and still hit the sites we wanted to see. Yeah, Andrew T. York is definite. June 21st to 24th. That's when we're in York. These dates are set. Yeah, I'll hold these up again. These dates are set. Trying to get these where they're not getting glare. We have handed these dates over to our travel agent. All we're doing is setting lodging, but those dates are set. Hey, Simon, how are you? Nice to have you. Another friend from all these days. So yes, we are going to the York. Joyce already knows we're going to the York Model Railway Museum. She's excited. She's hoping we can meet a lot of people there. Joyce and I were going to the UK for Castles and Beatles. That's why we're going to the UK. Castles and Beatles. And there's a lot of things. I mean, for example, there are places I personally wanted to go and Joyce would have gone. We couldn't fit them in. I wanted to go to Oswestry, right there on the English-Wales border, because it's the home of my favorite English language poet, a guy named Wilfred Owen. And his house is there, and the memorial to Wilfred Owen is in Oswestry. And I wanted to go there because I often make pilgrimages to my favorite writers, since I'm a writer. And like when I went to Germany, I made sure I went to the home of Thomas Mann, one of my favorite German writers, Heinrich Boll, and then my favorite German writer of all, Wolfgang Borchardt. As well as the home of the great German painter Albrecht Dürer. I've been to his museum house. And Goethe, I've been to the Goethe house in Frankfurt. So whenever I can, I like to make a pilgrimage to my favorite writers. And while in the UK, I would love to see any memorial to John Donne. And I had a chance, there was a possibility of going to Oswestry and seeing the Wilfred Owen Memorial there. But it just didn't fit in the other places we were going. It just did not fit in. I'm disappointed, but I can't complain. Now, maybe on one of these days in Bristol, if there's a way we could do it, I don't know how far. Does anybody know how far Oswestry is from Bristol? I think it's pretty far up, and you're going through those the mountains there of Wales. I forget their name at the moment, but it's kind of almost straight up, I think, Oswestry. And also, while you're in Oswestry, we might walk around and look for Dan Brown. Dan Brown from Salt of Interesting Trains, and look for him on his Narrowbill. But no, we're not going to Oswestry unless something miraculously happens. But while we're in Bristol, we're going to go to Gloucester and see all that stuff. Well, hello, Jeff. Welcome in, sir. You're not knighted. We got to knight you, although I'll be getting off in a minute. I got to get off. Whoops. Lost track of time there. We'll knight you for next time. And I declare you knight of your own great favor. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen, but it is 12 o'clock, and Vinny, a guy I follow, is doing a live feed, and I don't like to cross live feeds of people I follow, so I'm going to cut this off real quick. I don't think I'll be back on anymore. This was just sort of, I was bored this morning and needed to work on the tracks. And while I was down here, I thought, what the heck, I would go live. So I got to say thanks for all the people who wound up coming in. It was awesome to have so many people jump in. But yeah, Vinny's on, and I don't want to be seen as crossing his streams. So take care, everybody. Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains.